Nanos, founder and chief data scientist at Nanos Research. Morning, Nick.
Hey, Matt.
Let's get into this, shall we, too, at least for right now. Want to get at least your thoughts on what this means for Michael Mah crossing the floor, the second Conservative MP to do this so far this year. The Conservatives also losing another MP, but from your standpoint, you know, what the possible impact could be to start 2026.
I don't want to get too technical. Bad for Poilievre, good for Carney. I don't know. I know we need to say a little more than that, but yeah. What's interesting is that, you know, let's face it, anyone that's a caucus member, you know, many times can have a disagreement with the party leadership or be unhappy or disgruntled about something. Many times they stay within caucus. Other times they sit as an independent or they resign. Crossing the floor is kind of like the nuclear option if you're a politician, because you're changing hockey teams. I guess it's like changing from being a Toronto Maple Leaf to a Montreal Habs fan. And seeing, you know, this particular MP, Mah, in, you know, he's an Ontario MP, which is actually really important for all the parties, decide that he's going to switch from being a Conservative, which is the banner he was just recently elected on earlier this year, to a Liberal is significant for the MP. But it also has repercussions for the Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre and for the Liberals. For Poilievre, it's kind of like, are there more MPs that might cross the floor? For the Liberals, now they're one seat closer to a majority. So, and, you know, that might change how the party's strategy rolls out in 2026.
Yeah, it certainly feels like it's going to have an impact here as we get into the holiday break and then beyond into the new year. I do want to ask you, you have some new numbers, too, on some of the hurdles. And for people trying to buy Canadian, too, I'm going to shift gears just a little bit, too. Yeah. We get into the holiday season, you know, especially for younger people, we've talked about the support for the Buy Canadian movement, especially over the course of the trade war. But take us through what you found in some of your numbers when you've talked to Canadians in particular about some of those barriers to buying Canadian.
You know, Matt, it's interesting. In this new survey that we did with CTV News, we asked Canadians what the barriers were to buying Canadian for the holiday season. Why don't we say the patriotic purchasing? And there were factors that we introduced like cost, availability, transparency in terms of even knowing whether something was a Canadian product or not. And you can see at the top of the list, and these are all independent questions, so they could select as many as apply, that cost was most likely to be cited as a barrier to buying Canadian in the holiday season, followed by availability and transparency. The interesting thing about cost, that 45 number, Matt, ramps up to 60 among Canadians that are under 35 years of age, which means that for a lot of young people that are worried about paying for the groceries, they probably like the idea of buying Canadian, want to send that message to the United States, but that it's just not feasible from a financial perspective.
Yeah, it feels like the affordability crisis clearly rearing its ugly head ahead of the holiday season. So certainly interesting. Was it different by region, Nick? I want to ask you, in some of those numbers, you talked about age groups. What about region?
Yeah, there were some variations by region, but really the numbers that popped the most were actually by age, because, you know, the thing is, even when we look at people that are over 55 years of age, they were less sensitive. But, you know, when you look at the country writ large, you know, BC tended to be a little less cost focused, but once you get outside of BC, factoring the margin of error, fairly consistent numbers from the prairies all the way east to Atlantic Canada.
Yeah, certainly interesting. Okay, Nick, I can't let you go either because you had a big day. You were invested as a member of the Order of Canada. Congratulations from all of us here at CTV, but take us through what your day was like with the Governor General and what that means to you.
Well, it was a pretty big day. It's interesting. So, you know, went to Rideau Hall. Actually, I'll tell you what I shouldn't say what I enjoyed the most, but what I quite enjoyed was meeting all the other people that were invested in the Order of Canada. The Order of Canada is really about a celebration of all the really interesting and great things individual Canadians are doing on all fields, ranging from like research to healthcare and you know, academia, and it's just. It's an impressive and interesting group of people that have served their country in all different types of ways, and so I like people actually, and you know, obviously meeting the Governor General was also also interesting and fun. But I'll tell you, it was more about the stories. Listening to the stories of all the individual volunteers and the things that they do was more compelling. It makes you feel good. It's kind of like graduation, you know, like people getting up, graduate, lots of clapping.
Yeah.
It was a bit like that too, right? But it was definitely a happy event, and it was a really great way to celebrate all the wonderful things that are happening in our country.
Well, certainly a well-deserved honor to you and to everyone else, and we appreciate it. Got your finger on the pulse of the nation always. Nik Nanos, founder and chief data scientist at Nanos Research. Thanks, Nick, and congratulations again.
Thank you.